That's the disaster for replica exchange, because the replica exchange, any acceptance depends on the fluctuation of potential energy. But for temperature exchange, if the system is very big, there is almost no observable potential energy fluctuation. As a result, T remedy doesn't work for large systems. It only works for some small or medium-sized system. For example, if you want to study a small mini peptide, see its conformation change from folding to unfolding and with a small solvated box. In that case, you can use T remedy, just the temperature remedy. And another problem with temperature remedy is unable to select selected degree of freedom because it rescales the whole overall kinetic energies. But in practice, for some problem, especially for molecular recognition problem, we are only interested to some slow degree of freedom at the bounding pocket or bounding mode. In that case, T remedy cannot do anything because it is still overall kinetic energy. So now let's see accelerated energy. That's also another very popular method. You see Bromax, Amber, Charm, all those MD code already, implemented accelerated MD method. This method also has no selection of interested degrees of freedom. For example, it still, enhance the overall flattening, in overall potential energy barrier. For molecular recognition problem, we're still interested in just some bounding pocket area or even just the ligand itself. That's difficult for accelerated MD to target specific degree of freedom. And also another big problem, actually even bigger problem, is you have to apply some magic choice of the flattening strength. Look at here. In MD or in other MD code, events you use accelerated MD. This is the first biasing strength coefficient of accelerated MD. You need to set a parameter for that. But this parameter has no physical correspondence. It doesn't have any thermodynamic correspondence like temperature or something else. None of any force field parameter. You have to, empirically or just somehow ad hoc apply set a number there and try it works. Somehow you are doing a self, iteration process until you find, maybe this parameter, maybe 0.5 is good or 1.0 is good. Okay, this is a big problem. Now let's see RES2. Okay, here the 2 means the second generation replica exchange Solute temporary. In the first generation, there are 2 biasing coefficients that generated branches in non-bound pairwise calculation and affect computing performance. Second generation, we only have 1 scaling factor, so no branch effect, and in principle, the current RES2 doesn't affect computing performance and simulation. So it has optimal computing performance. The first advantage of RES2 is user can freely select the interested degrees of freedom. In MD, we have .spt format file. That file format is identical with the PDB. You only need in the O column for all those possible slow degree freedom. You just set non-zero value 1 to those atoms. Then NAMD will know, okay, those atoms will be biased by RES2. And in RES2, the biasing strength corresponds to an effective temperature. So that means a user can have a very, very good intuitive feeling. You say, okay, now how strong my biasing stress is, instead of any magical guess. Okay, this is the definition of effective temperature in REST2, because this is the Boltzmann distribution. Okay, in temperature exchange, okay, we just rescale the real temperature. But in REST2, okay, we keep the temperature fixed, but we only rescale the potential energy. So mathematically, rescaling the numerator and denominator, they are equivalent. So from MD aspect, MD aspect, they are equivalent, by rescaling temperature or rescaling potential energy. So you just, replica exchange find, enhancing the energy overlap between all neighboring replica. Now let's see some real applications. First, see the kinetically trapped conformation in free energy calculation. Problem very often arise when large structural reorganization happens. Like in this case, this is a typolysosome. These are hydrophobic protein, and in his hydrophobic core, some kind of aromatic molecules like benzene, oxime, pxene can bind to. Okay, but during the insertion of these binding inhibitors at the binding partner, some residue receives significant either backbone or rotameric state change, and those rotameric state or backbone distortions create a very high potential energy barriers, and it's really hard to overcome by normal free energy calculation. In reality, for example, in this case, this is the pxene case. I calculate just its whole apple state with straight free energy perturbation. Even take a 10 nanosecond, we never observe even one rotameric state conversion. So for such problem, we must need some specially designed sampling enhancement method, and that sampling enhancement must accurately target these slow degrees of freedom. And in free energy perturbation calculation or umbrella sampling, this hidden barrier is orthogonal to the reaction path, and they form the large time scale kinetically trapped state beyond time scale of the typical FEP trajectory. So now let's see how REST2 is designed and how REST2 can be applied to those kind of large time scale problem. Okay, in REST2, all replicas are run at the same temperature, but the potential energy for each replica is still different. In lowering energy barrier of small group atom, you need to predetermine which group atom are the potential slow degree of freedom. Depends on your either some existing simulation or some existing crystal structure or experimental data or some B factors or softness or some specific problem or protein structure to decide. Okay, and because it only touches interested slow degree of freedom, so it has significantly higher efficiency than traditional temperature exchange. Because REST2, directly scales the force field parameter. You don't need to construct any specific functional form, flattening potential. So it has very high transferability. In principle, it works for any kind of force field. You don't need to run any predetermined simulation. And currently, it is the most popular Hamiltonian replica exchange method. So in AMD, we implemented REST2 generically. A user, only need around, Solute scaling keyword, then NAMD will automatically search all relevant REST2 keyword. And we have, we have a REST2 template script in NAMD source tree, and the user can use that, to prepare their own customized input file. Still, it is a parameter exchange, and so with parameter exchange, we can perform very high frequency REST2 exchange. TCL script is communication enabled, and also is ready to employ along with other free energy methods. Later, I will show how REST2 is combined with free energy perturbation and umbrella sampling. But here I give some more, deeper insight about REST2. REST2 basically, only scales the parameters of the Solute. But surrounding region also fills this kind of parameter scaling. For example, if only the electrostatic interaction is scaled for two charges, charge 1 is on solute, charge 2 is on solvent. We know that even if only if charge 1 is rescaled, the force filled by surrounding atom also is scaled. So that means REST2 not only enhances sampling of the solute, but also indirectly accelerates sampling of surrounding particles. This is a good thing, but somehow also is a bad thing, because this REST2, decouples the time scale of solute and surrounding. That means if you apply too strong biasing in REST2, you completely decouple the time scale of surrounding and the solute. That means, the surrounding atom doesn't feel any acceleration from that solute. This decoupling could completely destroy the local structure. For example, in protein folding problem, if given a big protein, if you are only interested to the sampling of a local helix, but however, if you apply too strong REST2, simulation, as a result, you destroy the structure of the whole protein. So later I will show empirically how to choose a reasonable scaling strength of REST2. So because it is a parameter scaling method, so it never really applied a direct flattening potential. So it is not a real, flattening potential method. Instead, it is an effective tempering method. And you can apply, too strong, rescaling factor, because it might modify hydrophobic and hydrophilic properties and causes oversampling. For some, like F-helix system, if you apply too strong REST2, you only get unfolded state. They never go back to a folded state. So REST2, its efficiency is sensitive to exchange attempt frequency, highest effective temperature, and selection of heating region. We suggest select as small as possible region. You need to make sure, these are all potential solute degree freedom.
Question.
Okay.
So how would you know what lambda to choose? It would be just testing.
That's a good question. As I said, it corresponds to effective temperature. So effective temperature, that means in reality, empirically, when we simulate protein folding problem, for example, with the temperature exchange. That T is real temperature. Usually, if the temperature is higher than 700 K, okay, we observe phase transition. We only get unfolded state. So that means below 700 K, like 600 K, 500 K. In that case, you run temperature Replica exchange. You get reasonable folding unfolding transition. So similarly, for REST2, if you simulate a folding unfolding problem or some kind of large scale self-assembly problem, biomolecules, we suggest you set the highest effective temperature below or at most 600 K. That corresponds to 0.5, scaling factor 0.5.
There's the equation connected.
Right. So here the lambda set 0.5. That's safe. But of course, I would see this still based on some existing simulation. Yeah, somehow it's empirical.
And then the smaller the lambda, the more expensive the computation. Yes?
In principle, yes. But more conservative and more safer. Okay. So this is the basic usage and tips of REST2 enamel. These are all relevant keywords in REST2. So enamel, and these keywords is for one copy of REST2. Currently, NAMD REST2 works on both CPU and GPU cluster. First, a user need to prepare a REST2 file. This file has identical format as the PDB file, but you only need to select all slow degree freedom and assign value 1 to the O column. Yeah, this O column. Turn on Solute scaling. That means REST2. Okay, then NAMD will search all those relevant keywords. This is the Solute scaling factor. This is the default scaling keyword. With this one, okay, all these other keywords can be just, you don't need to write anything. This one is enough. But if you want to override this one, okay, you need to add these 3 keywords. This one, Solute scaling factor chart, that only scales electrostatic interaction, but keep van der Waals interaction untouched. Solute scaling factor van der Waals only scale van der Waals interaction, but keep charging electrostatic interaction untouched. And later I will show you how to flexibly use that and for what kind of system you use that. Solute scaling off, turn off this default. What's this one? Because we have bound, angle, dihedral, and improper terms there. In practice, only dihedral improper terms, contribute to some big conformation change. Bound and angle term, they can be ignored. So Solute scaling off. That means we ignore bound and angle contributions to REST2, only consider dihedral and improper terms. So this is a fine-grained implementation, and we expected this fine-grained implementation to improve acceptance ratio because Replica exchange, okay, we would like as high as possible acceptance ratio, but acceptance ratio is proportional to the overlap of neighboring windows. And this overlap results from the fluctuation of potential energy. So the less you scale the system and the smaller rescaled region you choose, you get the higher acceptance ratio. So this is the, this is the motivation why we implemented this fine-grained scaling. We just want user get as high as possible, acceptance ratio. High acceptance ratio with high acceptance ratio, you just need to run shorter MD simulation. And this scaling, fine-grained implementation is flexible for different systems. For example, for membrane system, membrane assembly is not that difficult as a protein folding, but of course it's not cheap. Why? Because in membrane system, its polar head group forms a very strong electrostatic trap there. In that case, you can just keep scaling van der Waals at 1.0. That means keep van der Waals interaction, but scale the charging electrostatic interactions of all polar group. In that case, even if you have a very big membrane system, you can still achieve very good acceptance ratios and get enhanced samplings. And on the other side, if you are simulating a system and this problem suffers from some steric interactions, and this steric interaction make a very big potential energy barrier. In that case, you can just set scaling factor charge as 1.0, but set van der Waals scaling factor at some, like 0.5 or 0.6 value. In that case, you still get a very high acceptance ratio and only target the steric interactions. This is online REST2 TCL script template. You can download it from NAMD source tree right now. This is, look at this TCL function, show how to set Solute scaling factor here. This is an online version. Here, this subroutine, you can modify it by yourself and write your own version. Because here, I just use a simple, even interval, REST2 scaling factor. You can write your own version. For example, logarithmic interval or exponential interval. You can write it yourself, but just change Replica SPT scale function. And here, you can see how to finally set this function within MD simulation. Periodically, this factor will change again and again with Replica exchange. This is the master configure file. When you submit a REST2 job, just submit this script master. And in that online work directories, you will see a init.conf file. It is the master configure file. It says the number of REST2 replicas. So here I default, I just said 16. For general mean peptide folding unfolding simulation with explicit solvent, 16 is good enough. If you have bigger system, you can consider 32 or 64. This is the minimum temp. But no, this temp is not the thermodynamic temperatures. Here, I just use that as a reference value. This max temp is 900. That means the highest temperature where parameter of a selected region is rescaled by 1/3. Okay, 300 over 900. Only see the relative ratio between the minimum and the maximum effective temperature. They are not the real thermodynamic temperature. Again, okay. Look at here, this set temp, this capital temp says, this is the real simulation temperature. Okay, this is the REST2 temperature. This is thermodynamic temperature. Steps per run. This is the Replica exchange frequency. Here, 100 step means every 100 step we perform one exchange. Now run, okay, if you use exchange frequency multiply name rank, you get the total number of simulation steps. Like here, the total number of MD steps is 10,000. And right per frame, here the frame is the output, the DCD file output. That means every 10 runs, that means 1,000 steps output one DCD trajectory, DCD file. This is the restart file. Restart file, that means here, only also 1,000 steps, they output one restart file. This is the base named configure file. The named base, the rest base configure file, okay, just remove all those, Replica exchange REST2 parameter. Only keep this part, and this part is moved to the master TCL script. Because Replica exchange, okay, they have multiple copies. Like here, we have 16 replicas. Each replica is an independent MD trajectory. So you need to generate 16 independent subdirectories for each, replica, REST2 replica. Later I will show you. So this is big directory, and within these directories, okay, you can write your own name for that. Okay, you need to generate 16 separate directories. Each of them, each of them stored one REST2 replica, and this trajectory should be indexed from 0 to 15. This is how potential energy REST2 is performed within an MD. Look at here. This is a communication-enabled TCL script. For each replica exchange, okay, look at the replica receive, replica send. The current potential energy of the one replica, REST2 replica, will be recorded and sent to its neighboring replica. Finally, once one potential energy exchange is finished, Metropolis Monte Carlo is performed here. And after Metropolis Monte Carlo, namely will decide do swap or non-swap. Do swap means this acceptance is accepted. Okay, here, each accepted exchange will be recorded for each replica and output instantly with a standard error file. So in namely, once you run REST2 or other replica exchange-based method, please also keep a close eye to the .error file. That's a standard error file or namely. That file will instantly tell you the current acceptance ratio. Because if you see the overall acceptance ratio is too low, you need to immediately stop your simulation. In that case, please use more replicas. In that case, then to run again. So basically, I suggest for any replica exchange-based simulation, you first of all, you need to run some short test simulation, like only 10,000 steps. Then get the overall from history file and the standard ERR file. You can get the overall acceptance ratio. Namely will automatically calculate for you. So at the end of the standard error file, this namely will tell you the overall acceptance ratio between all neighboring replica pairs. Empirically, if the acceptance ratio is below 20%, you need to reset the interval of these two replicas. So any questions here? need some particular details. This is the first application of REST2 for protein folding, unfolding transitions. The system is a AAQAA system. It has totally 15 residues, totally around 200 atoms. This system, had a very good experimental result. Look at here, this curve, those red curve. These are experimental measured helix content. And for this system, I applied explicit salt with 16 replica. And the effective temperature range from 300 T to 600 T. And the acceptance ratio here, I use 1/500. That means every 1,000 every 1 picosecond perform one exchange attempt. You can see that, and the simulation is start from unfolded state. We observe unfolding to folding transition. Actually, this is a pretty challenging task because in reality, we know that in empty simulation, it's relatively easier to observe folding to unfolding transition. But from unfolding to folding transition, it's lots more challenge. But here, I will show you from REST2, within 200 nanosecond time, we already observe significant unfolding to folding transitions with various helix content. Look at here, these three cases have 3 different helix content. And the first 100 nanosecond, you can see that mostly helix content is pretty low. Mostly still, stay in partially or unfolded state. But every 100 nanosecond, we see very big, large helix content fluctuations. That means, for a complete population of folding, unfolding transition here. Just those snapshots. So this is the first successful REST2 calculation for a real solid peptide. And okay, the script, REST2 script with a whole complete work directory already, just for this system, already is in AMD source tree. You can download it right now. Just run, you can try to reproduce this system if you have enough computing resource. Even the initial structure, in AMD source tree is identical with our, original simulation. This is a very large case. Now, this is estrogen protein. That's a well-known breast cancer agent. Estrogen, is a very is also a target of many biomedical research. So here I simulate the unfolding to folding of estrogen system. Still start from totally unfolded state. This system is very big. It's not peptide at all. It's a protein. This system has totally around 200 residue, totally over 3,000 atoms, including the solvent. The whole system has around 100,000 atoms. For temperature replica exchange, it doesn't work at all. For accelerated AMD, also we try, it doesn't work. So then we tried REST2. In this case, because the protein is too big, we set 64 REST2 replica, and we get over 60% acceptance ratio. For general replica exchange application, 64 acceptance ratio is very high. Actually, in practice, we don't need so high acceptance ratio. Maybe 30% is good enough. And for this system, within 15 nanoseconds, it's pretty affordable for general MD simulation. We observe unfolding to folding state. Actually, it's not finished yet. Gradually, these two loops converge, and they will make a hydrophobic core. So this is a very successful application of a very large protein unfolding to folding simulation experiment. The transition occurs just within 50 nanoseconds. And here, this is the traveling of one thermodynamic state. This thermodynamic state, this is the traveling history of the physical replica. Because for REST2, finally, no matter how many replicas you have, finally, you only choose the physical one that has the lowest temperature as the final result. The other part, you can use that as a high temperature reference, but they are not the physical one. This is the traveling history of the physical replica. Look at it here, within 50 nanoseconds, it travels the whole extended ensemble. So that means it thoroughly receives that accelerated sampling information from all higher temperatures.
Question.
Okay.
This method is good to sample the conformation states of proteins.
Yes.
What about the pathway? Because this thing happens in such a short time, can you claim that this gives you also the pathway to folding of this protein?
Pathway, okay. Here you see. Pathway is not just a thing occurs or not, but also you also need to provide population. Because, for example, REST2, okay, here, like this case, right, or this case, this is the folding state, right? This is the unfolded state. These are two intermediate states. Here, I dare not to see these four are a complete transition path. Why? Okay, I can only say, oh, these are two intermediate states, but their population perhaps need, even longer computation, or still need to apply some restraint. You still need, to get a very accurate quantitative information. It's better, you predetermine a possible reaction path. Reaction path will help you further accelerate your sampling. For that case, for reaction path sampling, only REST2 itself, I don't think that's a safe method, But for a cheap way, okay, you can do that. For example, you run a 1 microsecond REST2 simulator, okay, you generate a super long trajectory. In that case, okay, then you generate many snapshots. Okay, for each snapshot, you need to have your own screening tool to decide what state it is. Then you get an average population for each state. That possibly that is a pathway, but I'm not sure it's safe or accurate. So I think I answered your question. So this is the application of REST2 with free energy perturbation, but this is Schrödinger's version REST2 FEP. Later I will introduce our named version. REST2, Schrödinger's version was published in 2011, designed by Lin-Le Wang, and Bruce Byrne and Richard Fresner. In their version, okay, each FEP window is directly biased by a REST2. So that means each FEP window is a mixture of FEP window and REST2 replicas. So they mix together. However, after the FEP simulation is done, they don't do any reweighting process. Basically, any biased FEP window You need to do reweighting, but they haven't done reweighting. And their assumption is based on that for simple relative free energy calculation, the two ligand, the one lead compound and the perturbed ligand has a highly similarity. So any potential free energy barrier could be overcome by this similarity. That's why they don't do any reweighting process. However, I would say this method somehow is dangerous to do that. So this method, is pretty cheap. This is a very cheap solution and a very easy implementation. In the NAMD REST2, okay, like this case. This is REST2 scaling, right? This is FEP scaling. This is the key. The core part of NAMD is FEP REST2 scaling. You can just combine each REST2 from scaling factor and lambda together. So each FEP window has two parameters. But because each FEP window is already biased by REST2, so the thermodynamic axis actually is contaminated by this kind of brutal mix. So as a result, you have to carefully control the heating region and minimize these non-equilibrium effects of FEP. Because free energy perturbation basically along the whole thermodynamic should follow the equilibrium statistical mechanics. And either thermodynamics integration or FEP, physically, they are integration along the whole lambda space and follow the equilibrium statistics. This is a fundamental rule of alchemical free energy calculation. So if we directly apply REST2 replicas just to FEP window, actually, this is a kind of non-equilibrium FEP. So a user must be very careful about that. This is a result of FEP REST2 is a sharing version to PX T-lysozyme system. Here, at the bounding pocket, there is a very big barrier for the rotameric state chain. You can see that this is the black one. Black one is the straight free energy perturbation method. In that case, you can see that black one for the Apple state. We never observed any rotameric state conversion within 2 nanoseconds. But with REST2 applied around half nanosecond, we observed the Apple to hollow state conversion, rotameric state conversion. So actually, the black dot represent a very typical Hamiltonian lagging problem. In that case, the system always trapped in the initial state, a very large time scale, even though you already changed a new Hamiltonian. So now let me introduce more application. This is our REST2 implementation in NAM. We apply REST2 to the thermodynamic axis orthogonal. Okay, why orthogonal? And along the thermodynamic axis, we don't see any REST2 biasing. So, and after the simulation is done, we only post-process these thermodynamics axis window, those REST2 windows. We just discard it because they are totally biased. And the simulation, and the application, the communication is performed, along this chain. So effectively, they form a 1D replica exchange. And we separate, so this is the separation of lambda exchange and REST2, leaving REST FEP as it is. But this method, because we orthogonally apply REST2 along the thermodynamic axis, So we need slightly more parallel computing resources than default REST2. Like this case, default FEP only need, okay, this number of windows. Here, we need to add 3 more or 6 more windows, like that. 6 more windows to apply REST2 effects. This is the final effective simulation model. Essentially, this is a 1D, still is a 1D free energy perturbation. But at the end state, this is a hollow apple state. This is a hollow state. We further attach 4 REST2 replica. But here I would say, for absolute bonding free energy, if you already have a well-defined crystal structure as a hollow, or for example, hollow state, you don't need this part. Only this part is enough, because usually for absolute bonding free energy calculation, the apple state suffers from the largest time scale, but the end state, it doesn't involve the intensive sampling. And after FEP simulation is done, we only post-process those unbiased part. This biased part, we apply by a boosting acceleration. We discussed it. And all replica exchange still is controlled by Metropolis Monte Carlo. Here the lambda exchange is thermodynamic coupling parameter. The B is the binding strength of REST2. Okay, but we still need high frequency exchange. For example, 1/100, every 100 steps, or every 200 steps perform one exchange. For current, CPU cluster like a school, a campus CPU cluster, or even GPU clusters, it's no big deal. Every 100 steps perform one exchange. It's no big deal. And this high frequency exchange can guarantee, those all accelerated confirmation travels through the whole reaction path. So this is the application of NAMD version FEP REST2. The same system, P exceeding T for lysozyme. And here also we get the comparison between the 2 versions, how they work. For the system, look at this is the black dot is the Hamiltonian behind the problem. Just straight FEP, we don't see any rotameric state conversion. This is the rotameric state. This is the lead. Okay, this is the Schrödinger's version. Okay, after 500 p per second, we get rotameric state conversion from one state to another state. But however, this conversion still is not clean enough. But this is NAMD's version. Look at it here. Pretty similar thing. It's around hundreds of p per second. We observe the conversion from one state to another state, rotameric state. And with the interaction switching on, we see that the rotameric state population gradually evolved from apple state to the final hollow state. And the bonding free energy, look at here. We calculated the binding free energy is negative 5.5, is in agreement with the experimental result. Actually, Schrödinger's version also has pretty similar bonding free energy, but it seems that it takes a little longer time scale to observe the rotameric state conversion than NAMD's version. But this is not a pretty challenging problem, and later I will show more. This is butyl benzene to T4-lysozyme bonding system. This is relatively bigger ligand, and at the bonding pocket, not only the valine 111 residue receives a very big rotametric state change from gauche to trans, but also the whole F helix receives a very big observable distortion. However, it still keeps its F helix structure. First, let's just run straight FEP. Look at C. This is the previous PX cinema. This is an unbutane benzene. We can see that the rotametric state conversion of butane benzene is even slower than PX. This is totally wrong. PX and unbutane benzene, they share identical bonding pocket. At the beginning, if FEP chemistry, in theory, they should have identical, apple state relaxation. But what we observed, they exhibit a totally different. Look at here. It's very stark, just trapped there. PX series, exhibit very, 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 this is 10 nanosecond, very, very, very slow relaxation. So, okay, of course, Hamiltonian lagging is a frustrating problem. Now, we applied that named the 1D FEPH remedy method to butane benzene. Now, we can see that we got observable conversion from one state to another state, rotameric state. This is accelerating them gradually with interaction switching off. System, from population evolves from apple state to the final hollow state. This is accumulative free energy bonding site free energy calculated with 1D FEPH value. Look at here. Black line is straight FEP. You can see after 2 nanoseconds, it forms a plateau. For the red line is our version, 1D FEP rest2. We apply rest2 orthogonal to the thermodynamic axis. It converts. And the green line, we also have a PMF fitted method. Actually, this method pretty much based on the same spirit of Candille's work. I don't know which of you is familiar with Candille's work. Candille did some pioneering work for this system. He ran some PMF calculation. And we combined his method with the FEP. We find the convergence is pretty much the same. Look at here, with our new rest2 method. But if we apply too strong biasing, we see the structure distort a little bit. However, the free energy still is better than straight FEP simulation. Here, the gap between straight FEP and accelerated FEP is over 1 kcal/mole. For free energy calculation, 1 kcal/mole deviation must be seriously considered. Okay, now let's talk about a trick. How to apply rest2 in combined with simulated annealing to accelerate sampling of solvent in a buried bonding pocket or buried hydrophobic core. Like here, this is the Camphor P450 bonding complex. In the middle of the protein is a highly closed bonding pocket. If you just run a normal MD simulation or FEP simulation, okay, solvent never enters this bonding pocket. Because within this boundary pocket, there are 3 very polar residues. They favor the solvent side. But usually the simulation, FEP simulation starts from a hollow state. Hollow states with a full ligand there. But once you turn on FEP, the first window never received any solvent inside. So we ever designed the grand canonical Monte Carlo method, but that takes a very long time and pretty expensive to add water molecule into that. This is an ion channel problem. Ion channel problem, now here, look at it here. In the middle of the channel is a big core. It's hard for solvent enter this core. Also, general method is a grand canonical Monte Carlo method. Also suffers from efficiency and speed and computing cost. Here, I would see how to use REST2, accelerate the sampling of solvent within those buried regions. Okay, here, by the way, I also mentioned a little bit about the temperature exchange. Temperature exchange basically can help us, enhance sampling of solvent, motion, but because in real biophysics simulation, because we have so many solvent atoms, temperature rapid exchange suffers from efficiency, acceptance efficiency. So essentially, it doesn't work well. So this is the first application of the estrogen system. This is a big hydrophobic core, and the motion of these external loops, it blocks solvent enter this core. For this system, for this core, I did a quick test, just run 1 nanosecond empty simulation. Look at here. The water molecules just solder around at the gate of the bonding pocket. They just don't enter. Okay, then after I apply REST2, it's not replica exchange. I only apply one replica REST, not replica exchange. It's a pretty cheap MD simulation. Just after 100 picosecond or 200 picosecond, look at the effective temperature is 400. I observe, look at here. Those salts quickly, fill the bonding pocket. And with this fully sampled bonding pocket, I calculate, multiple absolute bonding free energy for estrogen. All these, drug compound has good experimental measured bonding affinity. Look at it here. Experiment. This is simulation to the structures. They agree with each other very well within 1 kcal per mole. Okay.
Quick question on the last slide with the did you publish anything with the P451?
This one?
Yeah.
P451? Very early. It's almost 10 years ago I published paper. But that paper used grand canonical Monte Carlo method. But if you want to understand some more fundamental things, for example, how the solvent equilibration affect the bonding free energy calculation, that paper will tell you. I suggest, okay, sorry, here I should write this, but later I will tell you. Yeah, I recommend you read that paper. It's about the solvent effect.
Did you have a heme group in there for that one?
What group?
A heme group?
Oh, yes. Heme group, we specially designed a force field for that heme group. Good, you're expert on it.
That's one.
Yeah, heme group is very important to keep the native structure of this protein. So, how to use that? Now, let me show technically how to apply REST2, to accelerate the solvent acceleration. Because REST2 now has fine-grained implementation. For solvent, water molecules, for each water molecule, its potential energy trap mostly comes from dipole-dipole interaction and electrostatic interaction. So you just need to still keep van der Waals scaling as it is 1.0, but only rescale the charge factor. For example, 0.5, 0.6. In that case, you will but keep
over time, you realize that.
Yeah, sorry about
We're already like 15 minutes over.
Oh, so
How much do you have?
only umbrella sampling, only for, yeah, almost only 3 slides.
Should I bring the food?
No. We can talk afternoon tutorial session.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I can talk about that later. There's just some technical details. How to save computing resource, save time, but get the best efficiency. Oh. Okay. Yeah, afternoon. This shows how to. Yeah. Tutorial session, you can just try to download REST2 from the kernel name resource tree. I will help you how to set up and run REST2, your own version REST2. Keep this. Sorry about that. Delay with your life.
Wait, does this run from GPU?
Oh yeah.